It's a good evening to you. Especially welcome you to our Situation Room live on Mainland 98.3 FM. You're very welcome. And I want to believe your day has been going so well. It's been a pretty cold day in the city of Lagos. It's been raining. I told someone this afternoon, I said, if this rain should continue, some people on the island will spend their nights in the belly of a fish. I'm just saying. I mean, you on my way to the office today, somewhere around. You want to link up to the road that leads to Third Mainland Bridge, or you want to cut off and link up to Bagada Oshodi Expressway here. That link space. I mean, the level of flood within that very short space. I just told myself, I said, I remember about a month ago when NIMET gave this warning that states, about 13 states or thereabouts, would experience very heavy downpour that could lead to flooding, and Lagos was actually part of those states that were listed. And you would expect that as a state that has the potential or is working towards becoming a cosmopolitan state, the relevant authorities will have moved as quick as possible. And Lagos had always been this way. The coastal nature of Lagos did not just begin today. It's not about encroachment or anything. We know the percentage of Lagos that is below the water level, sea level. So you understand that some of these things would always happen. But what happens during the dry season? What happens when the government are supposed to, pay attention to some of the blocked drainages, the poor channels, some of the houses that were built across, way of passage? These are the issues that the government really need to look into. I've been following the Honorable Commissioner for Environment in Lagos State, that's Honorable Tᴜ괜nᴇᴜ Wahab, and each time he goes out, to implement some demolition, or to implement some, or to effect some, injunction, or you just look at the reaction and the responses of the people. There's always this old bias about, there's a target against certain people, there's a target against this and that. Then when the rain falls and then the flood comes, and then the same people come out and say, the governor or the government are not being proactive, the government is just reactive. I think everybody needs to just look for a common ground, and then we understand that to avoid all of these loss of lives and properties each time it rains in Lagos, something needs to be done. Things need to, the government need to take, strong position, especially for people that are building illegal structures, erecting shanties at the wrong places, blocking drainages. These are the consequences of some of these actions. When we choose to be, when the people choose not to be so totally responsible to the environment, they would have consequences of floodings, destruction of lives and properties. And these things can be avoided. I just choose to, send that message really cool to everyone that is affected, or to everyone that deserves to pick out of that message. This is the Situation Room. And, it's been a day of judgment and judgment. The three-man panel of the Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja, has affirmed the election victory of the Kogi State Governor, Mr. Usman Ododo. Yes, that's the big deal right now. And, it's been a long way for him. He got into office, and there were issues in respect to probably was protecting his predecessor, that's former Governor Yaya Bello. And there's been a lot of distractions, you want to say. A couple of silent protests also from the Algon in the state. But at the end of the day, the court has upheld his victory, saying that he's got 4 years of the Kogi people's mandates to, deliver quality governance to them, which is what he promised them. So now it's time for him to get to work, if he's not gotten to work at all. I saw his 100 days in office when he released his scorecard, and I just laughed. But it's okay. You want to believe that the next couple of months, years, would be a time to, deliver quality leadership to the people of Kogi State. So we wish him well. Congratulations once again to the APC family in Kogi State. According to the courts, the appeal was filed by the SDP candidate. Remember, yes, the SDP candidate was also a former member of the APC. That's Mr. Muritala Yakubu Ajaka. He was one that challenged the election and the victory of His Excellency Governor Usman Ododo of Kogi State. So that one had been sorted. Well, can still take a step further. Maybe go to the whatever it is they want to get the results. But as it is now, it's business as usual in Kogi State. Now the governor should face his responsibility. There are no distractions coming from the courts anymore. Let the people see the result of the mandates that they voted for on the 11th of November 2023. Remember, the all-circle elections happened on the same day with with Bayelsa and Imo. Yes. Two of the other states of Bayelsa and Imo had returning governors, and that of Kogi had a new governor after the 8 years, 2 terms of former governor Yaya Bello. Well, declared wanted by the FCC also. Wherever he is, I want to believe that one of the beauty of democracy is that no matter how long you run, the hand of the law would certainly catch up with you. And so when I talked about the fact that it's been a Thursday of judgment, landmark judgment, almost about 21 years in the making for this judgment to come through. I was supposed to have Comrade Steve Aluko join me today on the show. He is the director of the civil liberty organizations, and those are part of the pressure groups, the interest groups that are constantly put pressure on the government to affirm the autonomy of local government. And today the Supreme Court delivered that judgment. The Supreme Court holds that states holding controlling funds allocated to local government on their behalf is unconstitutional. The Apex Court also holds that the Federation should henceforth pay allocation directly to the local government council, since paying to the state governors have not worked. Yes, and of course there's also an order for allocation to be paid directly into the account of the local government from the Federation account. Local government council chairmen and elected councillors cannot be removed by state governors. Yes, these had been the norm in the last years, and now the court has said, hey, this is not going to be the situation again. On the validity of appointment of caretaker committees as appointed by the government officials, the court says it is no longer valid. So for all of the states that have caretaker committee chairmen, transition committee chairman, it is now illegal according to the judgment of the Supreme Court today. Yes, which is the 11th day of July 2024. The Supreme Court also holds that a democratically elected governor has no power to remove democratically elected local government officials and appoint caretaker committees, which is absolutely unconstitutional. So state governors have no power to constitute caretaker committee chairman or transition committee chairman, whatever the nomenclature they want to call it. Hey, as it is today, almost about 24 states in this country have such practices, either caretaker committee chairmen that are renewed at the will of the governor, or transition committee chairman, whatever nomenclature they choose to give to it. But the Supreme Court had given this landmark judgment. Mr. ADEYEMI would help us understand how much of a victory this is for the people that have constantly pushed for the autonomy of local government. About a month ago, I had the vice chairperson of Onigbongbo local government join me on the show, Honorable Rekia Hassan. And one of the things she talked about is that until the governors absolutely hands off the operations of the local government, although she said Lagos is enjoying that's transition, local government chairmen in Lagos are getting their allocations as is supposed to come from the Federation account. But what about other states? What about Rivers State? What about Plateau State? What about Zamfara State? What about Niger State? What about states that, people went through the stress of campaigning, voting for their preferred local government chairmanship candidate and their councillors, and the governors just come through and dissolve democratically elected local government council, and then they put in their own caretaker committee chairman. We saw the same thing played out in Plateau State. In fact, the current governor of Plateau State, as we speak, Governor Caleb Mufwang was a local government chairman in Mongu. It was when the former governor Lalong won his election. He dissolved the election that brought in the then local government chairman, now the governor. He dissolved it. They went to court. It was a situation that went on for years. At the end of the day, when Governor Caleb Mufwang also won his election and he got into office last year, he also dissolved the democratically elected local government council chairman that he met that belonged to the APC. So it looks like, oh, you did this to me about 10 years ago, and I'm also coming back to do the same thing. And this always play out in so many other states in the country. This judgment, Mr. ADEYEMI is the head of political desk of Guardian newspaper, and it's going to help us to unravel how big of a win is this. And after this one, there's been constant conversation around now maybe the constitutionality of local government chairman, or SIEC rather, that State Independent Electoral Committee chairman being appointed by governors should also be checked, because it looks like this victory can actually be checked if the governors still choose who conduct local government election. Mr. ADEYEMI, good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us today on the show.
Yeah, good evening, OPEYEMI, and good evening, our listeners. I hope you are good, okay?
Very good. Glad to have you on the show today. I imagine how difficult it will have been for you to get to the office today with the rain and everything, and of course the pressure of what your newspaper will put up as the headline tomorrow. I can't wait for that. I can't just wait for it to come up. So thank you for joining us today on the show.
Thank you very much.
So let's go straight up into the situation. First off, let's just spend a few minutes on the judgment, that upheld the victory of the APC candidate in Kogi. That's Governor Ododo, yes, of the All Progressive Congress. So, now, what's the next line of action for the APC? That's the governor. There's been a lot of talks about the fact that some of the appointments have not been made because they are still expecting the victory, or they're expecting whatever outcome at the appeal court. The SDP candidate, Mr. Murtala Jakala, actually took the APC candidate to court. Now the appeal court has upheld this decision. It's over a year in office. It's almost a year in office for him. He won his election in November. What are Kogi people expecting going forward from their governor?
Well, I think it behoves on the governor Ododo, I think, to reciprocate the goodwill of the people if actually indeed he has their mandate, I think, to behave to try. When people voted for him, or people allegedly voted for him, or I don't know how to put it, because of the kind of a lot of controversies surrounding election in Nigeria, where you are just being skeptical, I think, of using the mandate the way it ought to be used, because of what you and I think we all know. So, but let's assume that I think he got the mandate of the people, and it's to improve on their welfare, I think, to do better, if possible, than what it is in office did. So far, I think governors have not gone full touch in Kogi, I think, on the excuse of litigation going on. But some of us will not see any strong merit in the litigation. We see the gap of in the I think, the number of votes and the way I think the opposition divided themselves. For some of us, I think when you read politics and you look at the figures, look at statistics, look at the voting pattern, look at indices, I think that will determine the election. I think one thing is always happening that I think always make, I think, a good political analyst to come to conclusion. I think even before the cast their vote, immediately you see the opposition dividing themselves. I think whether in the presidential or a state election, we begin to see the beginning of their downfall. The more the opposition divide themselves, the more they harm the government of the day, whether good or bad. I think a free ticket, I think, to continue in the government house. So we saw that happening in Kogi State, and we all knew that with what I think the former governor Eyadelo have done, whether in any way you look at it. So the opposition have already armed I think the Yaya, I think is pretty good to continue in office. When I mean it, I think by proxy anyway. So this judgment, because we look at the election, if we look at how the opposition, I think, put themselves, I think, in Kogi. Ajakaye was also a member of
the APC.
ruling. You understand? And not only him, I think one or two other people left. I think to form one of these to another party. So that's why all things that bookmakers, I think, were predicting that ought to happen in like this situation could not happen, right? But that has gone. If that person said we don't want the election, so be it, at least for now. And but enough of excuses. So let him now go out, I think, justify the mandate, I think, given to him. Let people of Kogi State enjoy dividends of democracy. I think so far I've not seen anything anybody could conveniently attribute to Kogi State when it comes to good news. Like, oh, this is what Kogi is doing fantastically well. Then I think I have not seen one that anybody can easily attribute to Kogi State at the same time. And then let's admit that because the man has not been able to
settle down
and to govern people effectively as everybody would have expected him to do. But now, I think that there is no reason for such excuses. So we expect him in a couple of few days. Let him appoint his ministers.
His commissioners.
I think full governance begins in Kogi State. So we wish him best of luck.
Thank you very much, Mr. Muyiwa. Now let's go straight up into the main issue for today. I said today is Thursday. Significantly, it's been days of judgments. We heard the one of Kogi State just breaking, and then you've also alluded to the fact that the governor needs to settle down now, appoint his cabinet, and let's see how the people of Kogi State would start feeling the impact of the government that they have elected according to INEC and according to the appeal courts. Now let's talk about the major one, the judgment of the Supreme Court today. Upholding the legitimate autonomy of the local government. And it's been a journey that didn't start today. It's been a journey that have, been at the forefront. Civil society organizations, pressure groups, interest groups. A lot of people have been talking about it, that the local government needs to, be self-sufficient. The local government fund needs to get straight up to them so that the people can feel the impact of the government. How much of a judgment was that was delivered earlier today by the Supreme Court, Mr. Adeyemi?
Well, I think let me first and foremost congratulate all Nigerians. I think that what we thought would take a whole hold of a constitutional review, which some governors will truncate, I think to do. I think this administration, I think has been able to achieve it. I think because Nigeria, because with this judgment, it's the landmark judgment. I think that for the first time, we expect dividend of the democracy to get down to the grassroots. And at the same time, we expect it will deepen democracy at local government. Because, in local government before, nobody cares about when you hold the election because the ruling party, I think, always adjust the structure and ensure their people, I think, feed all the local government did, simply because of the jack and simply because of what the Supreme Court settled today. So I think with this one now, we cannot begin to look at democracy at the grassroots. And if we look at democracy at the grassroots, we cannot begin to say, let's elect people we can trust. So the election into that local government now will not be the same as what it used to be, where people are not interested. Because you see people now, quality people now, contesting for that, because they know that they are not going to get any frustrate of the governor. No, just whatever any amount you want to give them. So they know that their statutory allocation should be coming straight from Abuja, and they be ready to attack. Everybody governing now with the level of democracy want to achieve. They want there should ought to be a kind of heavy rivalry, right? I think between and among local councils in Nigeria. I think up to now we cannot single out a local government that's doing anything. That the kind of restructuring Nigerians are looking for as parties. Do you know that many people thought this can only happen with constitution, with review of the constitution? Many people didn't know that I think that constitution can be interpreted in the right sense of how it ought to be. So without lobbying legislators, without fighting governors that would have instructed the Speaker of the House of Assembly on what to do. You understand? The Tinubu-led administration was able to scale through one of the major fundamental crises we have. Because if dividends of democracy are not been trickled down to the grassroots, then there's a problem in this country. So as we all know, there's no local government in this country, forget whatever the governors are saying, that I think they are having the amount they're supposed to have. And that's where I've said it here, and I'm going to repeat myself again, that let people talk. Our people, they are brilliant. I know we have a lot of brilliant people contributing to this conversation here, and that's one of the reasons I stick to it, right? Let them tell us in their local government, the last time they saw a local government, at least constructing 1 or 2 kilometers of road. Let them tell us. I don't want to assume I know, right? But I know beyond my local government. You understand? Let them tell us. The last time they've seen a local government rehabilitating primary health center and ensuring that they have enough doctors and drugs in those primary health centers. And they will tell you that the reason why we have our general hospital being crowded is because some elements that also have been treated at primary level
are being brought to the secondary level.
Are not being taken care of. So they now start, at least to become a secondary matter, right? So if local government has to, let our listeners tell us the last time. I think the first impact of it simply because with the GAG, with the GAG, the state government has hijacked the resources and take control of it. Is in our presence. Year around this time last year, that in Ogun East local government, Wale Adedayo asked Governor Abiodun that the money we are seeing coming to our local government, I think FAT will announce a bogus figure of billions to local government.
But then we get stipends.
We don't have a taste of 10% of this. And what is it for Governor Abiodun? What Adedayo is a journalist. Journalist Adedayo was once a time a correspondent in the Guardian newspaper, even the chairman of Guardian NUJ. When Adedayo left the Guardian to Punch and became political editor of the Punch, when Adedayo had been the chief press secretary to the governor, and always we know him as a person, he's always a grassroots person. So he wanted to make impact. People, everybody believed he was the best governor, the best local government chairman in the state, because you see him constructing, using caterpillar, raising money, asking people to donate money for projects in the state, and a lot of us get contributed because of our interest in it. We were made in school, right? But what I'm saying is that we contributed to assisting. We see many people, and they go to a stage. The guy was now asking, I was like with the line of my friends in Lagos every time to do anything, and then we are asked to see what is being published as what accrued to my local government. They ask questions, and we know what happened. And today, when there was one of the most happiest person with us, yes, he's facing the challenge. He's suffering, I think, for daring to, I think, to ask questions where others prefer to keep quiet, even when they are being robbed with pieces on their faces. So, yes, he's facing it. He's facing the challenge. But today, he's an happy person. That how will you be announcing certain amount of money, and you also think you have a responsibility to carry out, and you could not do it to your people, and somebody administering that money on your behalf, and you know that it's not being transparent with it. Well, some governors have been saying it, that we don't tamper with local government money. Even when we give them money, so be it. So stop giving them money. So stop administering their money. Let them now administer their money and take responsibility for their action and inaction. So the judgment, I think, is the first practical step to allow dividend of democracy to trickle down to the grassroots. Is the first practical step to ensure we are going to have democracy at the local government level. Imagine a governor that was democratically elected with just one day, I think as a removed council chairman. You understand? If removing council chairman is as good as saying you are declaring state of emergency in a state.
In a state.
If a president cannot remove you because you are elected, right?
You can't remove a chairman.
Now removing somebody. You understand? So removing them is simply, is just no other interpretation to it that you are declare a state of emergency on that local government. And on what condition can you declare a state of emergency in the local government? But yes, it's me, okay? I still want to say that there are two issues here. Now, the first issue is when we start jubilating. The first issue is that I wish you that some government will still not circumvent the interpretation and execution of this judgment by devising other ways of ensuring that I think that they are still having access to local government money because they contributed to their election. And I can assure you that's what some of them will be working on, and maybe on the joint account, maybe the joint project, that when this project is too big for your state, for your local government.
Let's run it together.
So let's run it together. So you contribute this and contribute. So on that one, you begin to see certain things happening, and they still have manipulating and controlling the resources of the local government. I'm not sure state government is collecting money, and the federal government is collecting money to do any project in the state. So, and the constitution is so clear about the functions and the responsibility of each of the three arms of the government. So let the state government do its own, and let local government do its own, and let's know who the public should blame for any inaction or action. So we have to be very careful in that one, and that's why we have to the civil society organization, the pro-democracy organization, human rights organization, the media, and everybody that's concerned about good governance about this country must ensure strict compliance, at least by shaming, making public, or taking legal action against any governor that try to do otherwise. Number one. Number two, also, is that we should also that this local government also will behave responsibly, because we got here not by design. We got here by reaction of ineptitude or unaccountability of some local government chairmen. We were in this country when they had it how it should be, and we were in this country during military when they agreed that their money straight, and we saw how some local government refused to pay school teachers. Even by 1999, Obasanjo came in, most of local government were owing primary school teachers. Some of them could not even, the primary health centers, they could not even sustain it. They were just collecting money and marrying wives. So we saw that happening, and that is why we saw the federal government intervening in some of the projects that ought not to be federal government projects. Because if you look at today, if you constitution, the federal government has something to do with the primary school. It's supposed to be the responsibility of the local government. That's what I'm saying. But we have to create today where federal government intervene simply because they hold many primary school teachers there. In fact, some schools were crippled for more than 1.5 years that the primary school teachers went on strike. Local government workers went on strike because of the recklessness of some of the local government. What I'm saying is that it was because of that the federal government intervened, and states were also able, I think, to intervene on it. But how are we sure we are not going back to that era? Because we have to know where we are coming from. If we don't know where we are coming from,
we don't know where we are going to.
We are safe. They are far from being safe. So, but let's not say because democracy is advancing, and we have ICPC, we have FCC, we have CSO, and we have maybe people who are now a bit more enlightened, but not as enlightened as some of them would have loved to be. Because democracy only works when everybody play their part. If our people are docile, if our people don't ask questions, if local government are collecting all the monies in this world, and nobody is monitoring, and nobody is asking questions, believe you me, some of them will be richer than some of the state governors we are talking about off record. So, but what I'm saying essentially is that we have two major issues to look into. Strict compliance, one. Two is that how are we going to monitor the local government chairman that what happened in 1999
does not repeat itself. Thank you very much, Mr. Muyiwa Adeyemi. I mean, it can be better said than how you've brought it forward for everyone. I've seen a lot of position, I've seen a lot of opinion on this judgment. The director of civil liberties organization had also released a statement. SERAP had also released a statement. In fact, SERAP is calling for governors that have caretaker committee chairmen to dissolve those caretaker committee councils immediately as a result of this judgment. But you've established the fact that it's a major win. It's something that had come out of over 20 years struggle, bringing it up to speed. But let's talk about the governors now. For states that have LCDAs, for Lagos, for instance, we have LCDAs. Ondo State just created about 37 LCDAs or thereabouts, even though the court has said the creation is also invalid and all of that. How can governors be held accountable now in this space, especially the issue of the appointment of the state independent electoral committees? We've seen governors choosing who conduct local government elections. We've seen governors still being leaders of political parties in their state. So if the governor can choose who is the chairman of the electoral committee in the state, the governors can still also influence who picks the ticket of the parties at the local government. How much more work needs to be done, especially on the issue of challenging this constitutional provision that allows governors to appoint who coordinate elections at their state levels?
We have 2 or 3 major issues here now as during your question. The first one, maybe you will remind me of that if I forget, is that where we have LCD, how would they be funded? It's a very germane issue that I think we are just trying to work on. Because whether we like it or not, it's obvious and it's known that these LCDs are being, I think, sponsored through JAC. State government will not touch the money. I think as far as the Constitutional Republic of Nigeria is concerned, we recognize 774 local governments throughout the country. The Lagos has, I think, 20, if I'm not mistaken. So from the federal pool, Lagos is taking money from 20 local governments. But we know that I think Lagos also has about 37
LCDs.
So everything making 57. And from our own thinking, you understand? Our own thinking or what we think, anybody can decide that you are using money of 20 councils
to take care of 57.
You understand? So the last question is now that if like Onigbo, whatever you talked about now, right? I'm not sure if the constitution should be FCD. You say when you ask that woman, you understand that you mention should be FCD, not local government. Because I'm not sure the Onigbo is in the federal constitution or in the part of the local government listed for Lagos State. So he must be taking money, I think maybe from Mushin or from whatever Cᴏᴜᴜ, those areas that were used, those areas around that area, where they were created. You understand? So they are taking money from the joint account of local government. Now the question now is, well, if I am the chairman of Mushin local government and the constitution of the federal government of Nigeria, and I say my money should come to me, what gave me is 400 million this month. I want to. That's what I want, and I want to spend it. How would that seven state SCD? How would they have their money? Number one. Number two, are we saying that the state government is buoyant enough to give them money from its own purse? Because up to now, Supreme Court is still coherent, so that the process has not completed in the face of the law until National Assembly ratifies those creation of local government. So, is Lagos State government going to tell us that they are going to take their own money from their own purse
to take care of the 37 LCDAs?
But your guess is as good as mine.
True.
Right. So then, if we now say that the money go to Mushin Strait, to Oshodi, wherever straight, you understand? To Ojo, I know Ojo
to Alimosho.
And they know Alimosho straight. And that means that what happens to Ikotu, right? Where people like us live, SCD, you understand? So, but I think your guess as good as mine. So those are the 8 conundrums that over in the coming days we shall look at, and we know how the governors will, I think, will go through it. But receiving money from Alimosho to any other place in the state of law is illegal, is misapplication and misappropriation of funds. But how they will work it out, I don't know. And then the court has said that the state assembly has put the decision to be making laws for local government. It's in that position, it's in that judgment. You understand? Maybe they cannot, because the federal government is not making law for the state. So you cannot just, as a citizens assembly, people don't know that the councillors that have been rendered useless, they are like lawmakers.
At the local government level.
At local government level.
True.
But we have reduced that level of legislative assembly to where we put talks, sorry to say, and
people that just run errands for the governor.
Yes, that is to just to go and settle them, right? So, but the point you are making is that the judgment now, I think, is going to reshape a lot of things about that. So the financing of FCD affects Lagos very well. It's going to affect the state that also created. The data of Ondo, it has problem because IDC are not to be that strongly in favor. Maybe
Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa saw this judgment coming, perhaps, because his body language to the creation of the LCDAs have been really indifferent.
His predecessor in office, created it. It was challenged, but he didn't pull his way to see it through. We can see that. So, and no, we also have some few states also in the east or wherever, that have done that. But they are not many. But we shall look at how they are going to navigate through that conundrum. So, but having said that, again, is that if you look at the second aspect of your question, I think we are sorry. Maybe you remind me that one later.
Yes.
Better you ask.
You've actually talked about the first one.
I want to answer one question before you go further. Right? Please, don't remember that one. That Odebo council chair lady that came and said Lagos not tampering with their money. I'm not saying they are tampering, but is she saying that local government are functioning in Lagos State.
Hmm.
You understand?
Hmm.
You see, as local government are working in Lagos State, if this flood will not be as devastating we are experiencing it. You understand? And as I said, I don't want to go back to. I want to please. I think maybe you let our people talk on this matter.
Mm.
If they are really feeling impact of local government in their area, God knows. Because I grew up, I've told you in this program before, in Mushi local government, where we some of us felt impact of local government, right? The Popo that was chairman of local government there. The man is still alive. You understand? So maybe you can call him, you can if we start him on recommended him that he perform. Then you understand? So and we have not seen any local government in Lagos State that have done 5% of what the man did. So that's what I'm saying. The man is still, I'm sure the man is still alive. So the point I'm looking at can see in all sense of responsibility say that local government in Lagos are functioning.
Actually functioning. Mm.
They are not. They are not. So because if you are using money for 20 to feed 57, it's like you, a father, you have 20 children. And suddenly they brought another 37 children from your village. You know, at least my brother is in Lagos. They can't give you. You understand? And your resources are increasing. So and they are using the money for that 20. You understand? To feed 57. And you remember that 7 had more personnel, right? They have personnel, so they are functioning. So they are using most of the money on administration. You understand? And to pay people working local government. And that is the truth. So, but be as it may, we want to see how the Lagos State government, well, good. The president that created, I think, the LGAs, the governor then is now the president of Nigeria.
So let's see how they can work that out.
And with the one he did now, I'm not doubting his ability. I think providing solutions to some of the great problem at times, and look for solution. So we believe that what he has done now. I think let me give him benefit of doubt that he has capability of solving that problem as well. But we want to see how that particular problem is solved.
Okay, and the other question I asked Mr. ADEYEMI is that now that the autonomy of local governments have been upheld by the court, hopefully, and the implementation of it will not be a problem. The issue of SEC is also key, because if the governors still have the power to elect the State Independent Electoral Committee, and the governors still remain the leaders of the parties at their states, that means they can still choose who will do their bidding at the local government election level, and also boys in court that are loyal to them being the flag bearers of the parties. Is this still an issue of more work to be done, or how do you think we can maneuver this challenge? It's a big challenge and we have to face it.
This matter is also before the Supreme Court. And it will be presumptuous of anybody at least to start, I think, being categorical, I think, with what's going to be the outcome. Because I think, yes, Supreme Court, they have access to all the facts, where all the lawyers will argue based on the constitution we are operating. But what thing I've seen now is Nigeria seems not to be operating the kind of federal system of government we read on books. With this particular judgment of the Supreme Court on local government. What am I saying? Any student of political science will tell you when I'm talking of federation or federal system of government, we're only talking about two parties. That is the constituent unit, which in this case are states, and the center. You understand? Because the history of federal government in a nutshell is that different states coming together to form a unity, want to have one central government. And that was as its root to the 13 colonies in America, right? There are different colonies, but they were being attacked, left and right by their neighbors, and the 13 instead of we now submitting ourselves to the oppressive tendencies of our neighbors, why can't 13 of us come together to defend ourselves? So that what touches me touches you, right? So when they come to attack me, you won't put your hand. So if we come together now, let's come together to form to have a common security, to form a army, monetary policies, and while we still retain our identity, right? So that is the origin of true federalism, and meaning that the third tier, which local government, has nothing to do with the central government, because in the book we read, and which any professor of political science will argue to tomorrow, and they don't be surprised when you see them attacking the Supreme Court judgment. Because if by the theory of true federalism, this judgment is wrong. You understand? If by the theory of the theory of political science, federal government has nothing to do with how I rule my state. Meaning that you can operate local government. Because local government, in fact, local government system we are running here now is as a result of the Asuki report of 1976, which imposed what has been done in Northern region to all the other things. Lagos State was using municipal council before. Some were using the area. You understand? Some states like Ekiti, with homogeneous whatever, can just have a discussion center because they are one and the same. But what was happening in Northern region was what the Asuki report imposed on all of us that became, because that's what they operating. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm telling you that, without confusing my people, the judgment of the Supreme Court has negated that principle of true federalism according to the law, according to the theory, but he interpreted it as based on Nigerian constitution. Is that one implication? But we are not going to that now. But if we use that one to now predict what can now happen to the election, right? The same interpretation principle of that interpretation now can give INEC powers to conduct local government elections if in trend. But if we are to be in the trend of the fact that federal government has nothing to do with local government, that is by theory and the principle of federalism. You understand? We can also know that judgment, certainly they cannot interfere on local, you understand, because it's against the principle of true federalism. But the judgment of today has told us that Nigeria is defining its own federalism based on its own constitution, on its experience, if you like, call it homegrown federal system now, or federal structure, not the one we read in the book. You know what I'm saying? So, but based on what happened today, I will not be surprised if at the end of the day, the federal government and the Supreme Court say, well, INEC, I think, because who will pay piper the same tune? If federal government is giving federal local government money straight, you understand? So I want to be sure that the people I'm giving are democratically elected. I want to be sure that people I want to give money are democratically elected and should supervise the election to be sure that the will of people prevails. So with that one, so the Supreme Court can give it to the local to the INEC to do that. But yes, but let Nigerians be clear of the fact that in a normal federal system, states are the owners of land. Federal government does not have land anywhere. All the lands are vested on the state government, right? And the state government owns its people. Ordinarily, it's the state that's supposed to make its money and pay certain contributions to maintain the structure up. But things have changed in Nigeria that you make all the money from your state, send the money to the federal government that does own the land, people that come to construction, and the federal government now give you whatever they wanted to give you. So that's what we are operating. So we are operating a system that will be difficult for people to define. You understand? This is what operates elsewhere. But you can only understand what we are doing here within the context of our constitution and within the context of what we think we are doing as a people, whether rightly or wrongly. So that is the conundrum I can point out to you there. So don't be surprised. But normally, federal government has what business with it. You ask me as a political scientist, I am a political scientist, right? If we tell you that, and the money, I've started some of my professors just shouting this afternoon. They tell you, no, that I know their opinion. I don't want to mention them there, right? But the truth is that if they want to follow the principle of what has happened today, INEC will conduct local government election. But if they want to really follow the real principle of federalism, INEC has something to do with the local government election. But whichever way, I think, but this judgment has changed the whole thing in the country. Let me tell you something. Because of Jack, a lot of things going on. Jack is off. And because the law now says that the committee is no longer there, right? And the money is coming to me. Let me give you a scenario. We have many people who don't contest local government election before. Do you know that you don't belong to ruling party? And the one election as local government chairman, you be frustrated. That your allocation will not come to you. It happened in Lagos State. Obanikoro's son won an election. I think as the chairman of the Iosa or whatever local government. They were in court, they did everything. The young guy was frustrated in PDP until he joined APC. His allocation was not everything that was going to go to him. So because, but if I know that I fight in Alimosho local government and I won the election, I don't need someone to get my money. I can rally around my people. We can give them a tough battle. Yes, no matter what, it's an election. It's an election. So but if people in my local government see me as somebody they like, and I have an accident or somebody can trust, they like, you people will stand up for you. But the person is going to take that risk because he knows that nobody can hinder him from performing. His money is coming straight from the federation account. But if you fight this battle, you fought the establishment and you win the election, and after winning the election, like Obanikoro's son, and the money gets to you, and the money not get to you, what happens? You are being crippled. So this judgment you will see many credible people coming to win elections. I don't want to be in APC to win election. I don't want to be in PDP. But if people believe in me, I can just pick any party. I can pick PRP in my state. You can see this guy before in Anambra that used PRP to win election to the Senate. Both of the rep, not to the Senate. We see how people popular in that state, but because they believe in that Tuba, they know him and they believe it. So party does not matter. So meaning that if you are popular in your local government, you have done enough for people in your local government, you can pick any of these parties you never agree among these
and win an election.
And win an election to local government. Local government is supposed to be a rainbow. It's supposed to be a rainbow of parties winning. But now, because all governors will do everything humanly possible
to make sure that their parties have a clean sweep.
So it's not imagine if people like Wale Adedayo, there were 3 or 4 in Ogun State, maybe they don't belong to APC, and they joined Wale Adedayo to fight that battle in Ogun State. What would have happened? What would have happened?
Thank you very much, Mr. Muyiwa.
They know that many local governments to celebrate Wale Adedayo I think as a champion of the victory we are winning, because it was his battle that many people took to seriously analyze the contradiction in local government administration in Nigeria. The young man was removed. He was nowhere to be found now. You understand? But today, even we don't win. It's not everything to your peculiar interest. He fought and they asked questions. He asked questions, which many people say, why must you ask questions?
Some people were prostrating and apologizing to the governor and calling him a bab.
When they had the meeting of doing it together, immediately they turned their back against him.
Everybody.
Just continue. No, you understand? And from the governor.
Thank you.
Not only them, all of them are doing.
Thank you.
We've done many investigations and research. Most times we just give them money, maybe 5 or 10 million for security votes. They pay their whatever. They pay their current expedition for that month, and please forget the remaining.
Thank you very much, Mr. Muyiwa ADEYEMI. We're really pressed for time, and I promise I'm just going to have you for 1 hour so that I can continue your meeting. Thank you very much for being with me on the show today. We'll keep the conversation going.
Thank you very much.
That was the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, Mr. Muyiwa ADEYEMI, giving us his perspective in respect to the Supreme Court judgment today in the case of the autonomy of the local government and also the Kogi state governorship election at the appeal court. We'll take a break, come back on the turn of 5 o'clock. I'll pick your calls, read your messages, and then the show would continue. Don't go nowhere.
Follow us on all our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Mainland 98.3 FM, on Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
Headline news on 98.3 Mainland FM.
Good evening. Headline news on Mainland 98.3 FM. My name is Omobola Sandra. Labour leaders in closed session with President Tinubu over minimum wage. Appeal court affirms Ododo's election as Kogi governor. Federal government bows to pressure as FEC orders removal of universities from IPIS. On the foreign scene, Kenya's Ruto sacks ministers after deadly protests. And in sports, clubs set to be offered path to international management with World Cup hosts. That's the headline news on Mainland FM. Details at 5:30.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM. The sound of Lagos.
To cook correct food, they always give me joy. That's why anytime I they cook like this, I they always season them with no cubes. Come add correct vegetables inside. Ugu, tatasheo, shombo, onions. No one way I know they put. Now he make my pikin them, they always enjoy my cooking.
Daddy, I never will. I want more.
You see?
Sama all your food with correct vegetables. Come season them with no cubes for that ubonge delicious taste. Today, chop better. Spot that smartphone you've been eyeing? That one that seems just out of reach because of its hefty price tag? Hold up, MTN is got your back, bringing you an effortless way to snag your dream phone without emptying your pocket with Easy Buy. Choose any phone you fancy and conveniently spread the payment over 3 to 12 months. Keep your budget intact and your smartphone dreams. But wait, there's more. Not only do you get to enjoy budget-friendly payment option, but you also enjoy up to 10 gig free MTN data. Now, that's a steal. Don't watch your dream phone slip away. What are you waiting for? Visit the nearest mobile phone retail outlet. Look for the Easy Buy agent. Terms and conditions apply. MTN. What are you doing today? Attention.
Community healthy.
This message is brought to you by Mainland 98.3 FM, Lagos. Stay safe, stay healthy. Fixing your damaged phone just feels like a lot of wahala and can be very expensive, right? But not anymore. MTN is here with a solution to help you protect your phones. Accident happens. So imagine this. Your phone falls into water. No wahala. Your screen cracks. No wahala. Your phone gets burned. No wahala. Why? Because accidental damages are also covered. Even if you're lazy like me and cannot cope with the stress of getting your phone fixed, your damaged phone will be picked up, fixed and dropped off, all while you chill at home. And the best part is, you also enjoy free MTN data when you purchase any device protection plan. Seriously, who doesn't love free data? You also enjoy free MTN data when you purchase any device protection plan. To enjoy your device with peace of mind, visit mtn.ng/device services to get your pocket-friendly device protection plan. MTN, outdo yourself.
Looking for ways to save your data? It starts with your apps. Deleting unused apps helps, but there is more. Most apps have data saver modes. Activate them to control data usage. You can also go to settings to turn off auto updates. Lastly, close unused apps to save data when you ain't using your apps. These changes can make a big difference. For more information, visit your mobile operator's website or consumer.ncc.gov.ng for more helpful tips. Stay connected and enjoy smarter data usage. This message is brought to you by the Association of Telecom Operators and Nigerian Communications Commission.
To cook correct food, they always give me joy. That's why anytime when they cook like this, I dey always season them with no cubes. Come add correct vegetables inside. Ugu, tatashe, shombo, onions. No one wey I no dey put. Na him make my pikin dem dey always enjoy my cooking.
Daddy, I never will. I want more.
You sama all your food with correct vegetables. Come season them with no cubes for that ogbonge delicious taste. Today, chop better.
You're listening to Mainland 98.3 FM.
Things seem anxious and uncertain. I understand the hardship we face. I wish there were other ways, but there's not. If there were,
In our quest to bring to the table issue-based conversation around nationhood and development, we have made 4 to 5:30 p.m. Monday to Friday the perfect time to welcome you into the Situation Room as we continue to build the narrative about public service and accountability.
Mr. President, this Senate needs to know. Mr. President, this Senate needs to lend its voice to the plight of these people. Mr. President, there is nowhere I can say it except here. This is why I'm elected. If I cannot say these things on this floor, sir, I better resign and leave.
as elections give the citizens the chance to make their political decisions. Constant demand for quality leadership from those they voted into office.
Look at us now, there's nothing, we are starving. Tinubu should please do something.
It's also important to having a Nigeria of everyone's dream. Join OPEYEMI AKINYODE as it takes to task seasoned analysts, opinion makers, business professionals, and politicians on issues around politics, policies, governance, and leadership. Every Monday to Friday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on your super dial, Mainland 98.3 FM will welcome you roommates as we discuss the situations.
Attention everyone. Attention everyone, this is an important message about cholera.
Cholera is a serious disease, but we can stop it together.
Remember to always drink clean, safe water. Boil or treat your water before drinking.
Wash your hands with soap and clean water, especially before eating and after using the toilet.
Cook your food thoroughly and eat it while it is hot.
Keep your surroundings clean and dispose of waste properly.
If you or anyone you know shows symptoms like severe diarrhea or vomiting, seek medical help immediately.
Together, we can beat cholera and keep our community healthy.
This message is brought to you by Mainland 98.3 FM, Lagos. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Welcome back to the Station Room live on Mainland 98.3 FM. We'll continue the conversation. We'll pick your calls. We'll also read your messages. Before we went on that break, I had Mr. Miwa ADEYEMI, the chief political editor of Guardian newspaper, join me on the show via phone. And we talked about the landmark judgment from the Supreme Court earlier today, upholding the legitimate autonomy of the local government, and there's been a lot of controversies around it. So many lacunas that is being exploited already. Professors, political professors. I was reading an opinion from a professor, I think from University of Ibadan earlier today, and I was trying to break down how difficult it would be for Lagos. It was quite specific about Lagos to interpret this judgment. What happens to LCDs that are not recognized by the Constitution? How would they be funded? And my guest, Mr. Miwa ADEYEMI, also touched on that conversation, because if the main local government chairman, for instance, you look at Alimosho local government, under Alimosho in Lagos here, there is Moso Kola, there's the Fᴜʟʟ. There are other local government under it as well. How would they be funded if the ICPC eventually says, okay, chairman of Alimosho local government, you got 10 billion. Account how you spent it, and the chairman says, oh, I gave 800 million to chairman of Muri Okola, I gave 300 million to chairman of Fᴜʟʟ, I gave 500 million to chairman of this, and they'll ask you, who are these chairmen? The Constitution does not recognize them. I guess there's going to be further needs for the interpretation of this judgment, or maybe review of the Constitution. Let's see how all of that would to sort itself out. I know the next couple of days would have reactions from the governors. I'm sure some of them are still waiting for the certified true copy of the judgment and still studying it. But as it is now, it looks like it's a major win for those people asking for accountability at the local government level. And let's see how all of these will work out. 09136000410. Talk to us. And don't also forget, earlier today, the appeal court upheld the election of His Excellency Governor Usman Ododo of Kogi State as against the challenge of Mr. Muritala Ajaka of the Social Democratic Party that challenged the outcome of the November 11th, 2023 election. The appeal court says, hey, Ododo is the governor. He won based on the majority numbers declared by INEC. So it's an issue that has gone to rest, and hopefully the people of Kogi State will start enjoying the dividends of democracy. By 5:30, the food bulletin will come through, and by 6 o'clock, I will be back for Sport Cruise on Mainland 98.3 FM. Massive result yesterday for Three Lions, and for those people that make predictions on the show yesterday, we had a lot of winners. We'll talk about all of that by 6 o'clock. But for now, let me pick your calls and also read your messages. Hello, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Good evening, sir.
Good to have you join us today. Your name and where are you calling from?
My name is David. I'm from Benue State. I'm calling from Pedi.
David Kᴏᴜʀᴛ, good to have you today.
Sir, so I appreciate you, sir, for the good work you are doing.
Thank you.
I also appreciate your guests. So, what I want to say is that from 1999, where democrats have started to date, we don't have people that they are sincere for the to the masses. But as I was talking to you, if you go to my state, Benue State, nothing has been done. Everything is totally messed. There's no road. The local government chairman, the money that they are receiving for the little one that they are receiving for the governor, they are using to buy big car, marry wife, do many type of things that is not sincere to the masses. It's obvious. It's totally bad. We don't have sincere people in the government. Sure, but so if you people want to start for us and fight for the masses, we'll start for today. So I rest my case, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the good work you are doing.
And thank you for always joining us on the show as well. 09136000410. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good to have you join us on the show today.
This is Pastor Badamonsi. Good evening.
Please put out the volume on your radio set. I can still hear myself on the background.
Hello, are you okay?
Yes, it's better now. Go on, Pastor Badamonsi.
Yes, the judgment, it's like, to me, a paradox. It's like something, it's a conundrum. I think it's not going to be possible. Because my president, President Tinubu, I mean, he created 37 LCDs in Lagos State. And now, are you with me?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
And this judgment, I don't know what's going to happen, though, because a lot of employees, even I have a relation who is an employee of one of the LCDs, and I don't know whether they will throw them out. I don't know what's going to happen. But for me, the local governments, particularly in Lagos State, when before the creation of these LCDs, and you see, they were not doing anything. They were not doing anything. They just go there, collect salary, and go. You can't even feel them. There was a time my daughter was in the primary school for a whole of 9 months. They didn't go to school because the teachers, they were not paid. They were on strike until the federal government came in to start to bail them out. So from that time, the state has power. And if they send money to local government, who is to check them? Who is to check whether they are using the money or not? If they are dividing the money, I don't think the state should handle the local
Pastor
government.
Badamonsi, do you know that the local governments have legislative arms? They have councillors that are supposed to check the activities of the local government chairman. They are councillors, and they are they have oversight function to check the local government chairman.
Were they checking them?
Okay.
They were buy-overs.
That's a talk for another day. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. 09136000410. Hello, who's on the line? Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, good evening.
Mr. Edson, good to have you join us today.
Yeah. The matter in court, we thank God for the victory for the grassroots people. Yes, with this development, autonomy, both administrative and financial autonomy to the local government, we go a long way to ensure even development at the grassroots. So we now that we know that the battle has been shifted to the grassroots. The corruption has been extended to the local government head. Because even currently, there's corruption in every sector of the economy. So the local government cannot be exempted. So even this judgment have political undertone. We know the game the current administration is trying to play. They want to take control of the local government, 774 local government. And after this, the next step is to approach the Supreme Court for the INEC to conduct local government elections in all the 77. towards 2027. You know, Rivers State is not in the hands of the current administration. They just managed to win 2023 presidential election in Rivers State, and all politics is local. An election is won and lost at the local government level. So we know the game they are trying to play. Even Kano State, they want to be in Kano so that they will plan their footages at the local government towards 2027 election. But the people are ready for them. The next election, general election, is the people, the masses will contest election with the Mr. President, APC, INEC, security agencies, the court, because the court is the major problem. You know, this judgment, we can have the hand in this judgment. No.
You can't. No. I think that would be an unfair indictment on the part of the Supreme Court. You can't say a minister has a hand in the judgment. No. I think if you understand, maybe even before Barrister Wike became a local government chairman, this issue of autonomy has been in court. It's been challenged over and over again. In fact, this is not even the first time that a judgment like this has been given. Now, that's where the question comes in. Would the state governors, besides, with the interpretation of it, maybe tomorrow I will be able to get, a lawyer to come talk into this conversation. The interpretation of it, does it in any way come into within the powers of the governor, or is basically about saying, hey, let all of the local government chairmen, the 774, submit their account and get their monies directly? Do they have to show the governors how much they got? I'm sure the governors will be aware. Can the governors perform over, functions of checking them? No. There's a state house of assembly that the constitution also says they don't have the rights to make the law for local government chairmen. So this is where the councillors come in. This is where the legislative arm at the local government level comes in. Your councillors that have ordinarily become, in quotes, used boys of the governors, now know that they have a power to check the SSCs of a local government chairman. Maybe we should start understanding what democracy is really about. Now, every politics they say is local, and the people wants to own their powers from the local government level. Hello, good evening, Mr. Gege.
Yeah, Prof.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I want to congratulate all Nigerians for this particular victory today. But then I am of the opinion that I think this is not going to be the end, because there's another leg.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's another,
in fact, this is like the first leg of a 4x100 meters.
First leg. You understand me? This is the first leg. The governors, they are still in charge of the local government election. That is the major issue, which I think is going to be our major challenge now. If we can tackle that one, governance is back to grassroots. You understand me? Because as it stands, a governor still has the right to threaten any local government chairman. See, you are not coming back if you don't remit anything they give you. Remit it back to the remit everything, and we'll be the one to share of it. If you don't remit it, you are not coming back for the third time, and we can even sack you. You understand me? And the governors, they are in charge of the local government election. So they can manipulate anything, appoint anybody, they can do anything just to make sure they frustrate the local government chairman. So this is not the end. We should celebrate it and also pray that, okay, let's look for a way to make sure that the central INEC control local government election, if possible, because that is going to be the solution, the final solution. This is just the first leg. The second leg, let's await it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. 09136000410. Let me pick more of your calls and also go on to read your message. Prince Wise.
This is the morning.
Sorry, Prince Wise. Now we have you join us.
Because we love you very dearly.
Thank you.
You see, OPEYEMI, this verdict for Supreme Court, that's the end. No other court to go. And I'm really happy about it. I was praying yesterday that the verdict should favor Nigeria. I want to say kudos to Mr. President. He's a really politician. And he played the game very well. I know when he created more local government in Lagos, where the federal government there is not giving money for the complete 4 years. He must be suffice. As it is now, my only concern with those local government that not recognized by the Constitution
Like Lagos now, we have for the 20 local government, 37 LCD. I think when the allocation comes from Abuja, you have to sit down at the right table and share it equally among themselves. But the fact is tonic. What it means now is for the legislator to come around and give a law. Even though the mistake Nigeria make in 1979 is this by law. When the National Assembly, both the Senate and the Rep, the law. If they take it back to the state, that's where they commit a lot of capu against Nigeria. When they come there, they call a lawmaker. The rep will represent my interest in my local government, in my state. Why should they not pass a law, ratify it, and take it back to the state? When we have a landlord that they don't want democracy to progress. So for me, the National Assembly to do the need by passing law that the highness to conduct local government elections throughout the whole nation. And that's it. But this part is a law. I'm very happy about it. That we celebrate it, and are celebrating with Mr. President. But if somebody not tag this into 2027, why some people talk of 2027, my dear respect? Why should they talk of 2027?
Thank you, Prince Wise.
Who can pick the test that we get alive 2027? I only voted for Mr. President for 4 years.
Thank you.
No more, no less. In fact, a better performance to the majority of
Thank you,
Nigeria.
Prince Wise. Thank you very much. Let me read a couple of your messages. We're really pressed for time. This one says, following today's judgment, it means that Obasanjo's action over Lagos State is justified over the creation of the LCDAs. Interesting. This one says, good win for the fighters of democracy, but implementing this policy will be a bigger problem. Let's continue to get better and make democracy win. That's Festus from Ikorodu. Okay, let me check your messages on WhatsApp. This one says, the Supreme Court judgment on local government autonomy has correctly confirmed the provisions of the Constitution. It was an attack on the sensibilities of Nigerians that the governors disputed local government autonomy on nothing and carried on with the capturing and squandering of local government funds while manipulating local government elections and tenure without any rebuke. It was even rude and criminal for the governors to have contested those constitutional provisions of the local government recommendation. I suggest that the president should also go back to the Supreme Court to abolish every illegal instrument, if any, that encourages security vote constitutional allowance to the governors or the lawmakers. Thank you very much. One thing I know is that just do whatever you can to announce a winner in Nigerian election, and then we approach the court when nothing would come out of it. That's Ralph from Satellite Town. Okay. Richard from Agodo says the Supreme Court verdict on local government autonomy is a huge win for Nigerians. The autonomy will allow local governments to make decisions and also take actions without excessive interference from the state government. It will allow local officials to be more responsible to their constituents and strengthen civil participation and ownership. That's coming from Richard from Magodo. Thank you very much. This is Tᴜɪᴛᴛᴇ, and he says, I felt really bad listening to the Supreme Court judgment on local government today. Can you collect money directly and not hand over to your master, who is the governor that put you in office, because the state INEC is still in charge of conducting local government elections? Also, I want to ask, how will the 20 local government allocations be shared among the 57, which is the combinations of LGs and LCDAs in Lagos? Finally, why should the creation of more states be a priority to the National Assembly when the ones on ground are really scrambling for survival? God bless Nigeria, and God bless you too. Let me read your messages on Facebook. Okay, I already read the message you sent on Facebook now. Basil Chika says the Supreme Court judgment that ruled that local government money should be paid to them directly is a good one. If the governors would not hijack it, because whichever way you look at it, the council chairmen are always the boys to the governors, and they've succeeded in using their offices as settlement for their political foot soldiers. So let there be outright penalties for the defaulting governors, and when they are found culpable. That's Chika Bende from Trade Fair. John Bernard Ohuye on Facebook is talking to us, and it says, as for the LCDA in local government, they should just swallow their pride and scrap all of them to avoid confusion from the new judgment. I mean, the issue of the LCDA was always going to be an issue, but again, the person that created them is not the governor, is the one that approached the courts. So let's see how they'll be able to sort themselves out. It's politics. Tᴜɪᴛᴜ is talking as well on Facebook, and it says the Supreme Court judgment autonomy has correctly confirmed the provision of the Constitution. It was an attack. Okay, I already read this one as well on your direct message. Benjamin, it says the major problem Nigeria is having today is the politicians, INEC, and the judiciary. How can an election filled with irregularities and the result already out while voting is still going on? Somebody says there's a judgment affirming INEC's winner. It is a shame on our democracy. What do you expect from a governor who is shading an alleged looter of the state treasury? That's Benjamin from Sᴜᴜᴜ. Okay. Well, we're really pressed for time. Let me see if Mr. Collins can do this in 30 seconds. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
Just 30 seconds. Let's do this real quick.
Okay, what I have to say is that Mr. Fagbemi is not an alien here now. So why now? Is it not now that he now remembers to go to court now? Do you think that Nigeria will now be an Eldorado now? That they now will disperse to local government if I thought they would do that? So what if INEC start conducting the election? Will it change anything? The one they've been conducting, have they been doing it well? I've been saying let's go and meet these people and so let's discuss with these governance people.
Thank you.
On how to move this nation forward.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Tomorrow, I'm going to have a lawyer come give us some interpretation, if any, whatsoever, on this issue, and also the director of the Civil Liberties Organization in Nigeria, and one of the foremost pressure groups that have constantly been at the forefront of this issue of local government autonomy. Comrade Steve Aluko will join me on the show tomorrow via phone. Thank you. Stay safe and keep your dial locked on Mainland 98.3 FM. I'll be back by 6 o'clock for Sports Cruise.